Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm excited. Later in the program, we're going to be talking with a guy from BioCorRx, Brady Granier. And Brady is the guy in charge over there, and he's going to tell us about this implant that people are using to help beat addiction. So this is kind of a neat thing. I've never heard of such a thing. We're going to chat about that later in the program. Hey, speaking of the healthcare industry, a student nurse in Colombia at a nursing school was booted out because her fingers are too big.
That's too bad.
She can't stitch stitch a cut properly. So she failed that because she's got big fingers.
I'm sure she probably could have learned how to maneuver around that if they would have given her the opportunity.
I think so. I know.
Unless
I struggle.
her fingers are like
They look like potatoes. I feel like mine are when I'm trying to text. So I don't like to text. Hey, visitors at a Japanese zoo have been seeing green bears. But here's why. There's nothing wrong with the bears. There's a pond with a bunch of algae in it, and the white bears go swimming, and they come out green. They're going to turn white again when everything else is cleaned up, but they've got this algae that's making the bears look green. So people are like, hey, it's a green bear, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Coming up, we got some special things going on today. We'll tell you all about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I should never ask. It's Thursday, March the 3rd. It is I Want to Be Happy Day.
Oh, that's a nice day.
Yeah, just choose to be happy. It's also International Ear Care Day. And if you can't hear me, maybe you should take care of your ears. It is World Book Day today. It is World Wildlife Day today. It's also National Anthem Day, Princess Day, and what if cats and dogs had opposable thumbs day today? Yeah, you got to celebrate that sometime. And today's
There's
the day.
something to think about.
You know, I don't know if I'd want our dogs to have opposable thumbs. They'd reach up and, open the door and let themselves out. Although that would be kind of
That'd be kind of nice.
They wake me up in the morning like, hey, I want to go outside. I'm like, yeah, you have opposable thumbs. Why don't you just do
Go
that
do
on
it
your own?
yourself.
All right, I'm going to celebrate today by being happy, taking care of my ears, and singing the national anthem with a princess. That's how I'm going to take care of today. I don't know what you're going to do, but there's my plans. Coming up, we've got Sing a Song on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. In Cambodia, it is against the law to sing MacArthur Park or any other song with a karaoke machine.
What?
Yeah. Prime Minister Hun Sen of Cambodia says, he's not too thrilled about this. He brought tanks to the war, and he's... What?
What are you talking about?
He's brought tanks to the war.
Remember when we talked about pre-reading?
Yeah, I know. I did pre-read this, and it still doesn't make sense. He brought tanks to the war, and he is fighting. Who's he at war against? Not a foreign country, not a domestic fight either. No, he's fighting the war against karaoke in Cambodia. He's launched a stern crackdown on the practice. He's unveiled a new punishment last week for those participating in karaoke. Guess what it is?
What?
Destruction by tanks. Yeah. During a radio speech last week, Hun Sen told military commanders, if we know of any karaoke parlors still open, go close them immediately and take tanks to knock them down.
Wow.
The move has sparked protests.
We actually already talked about this
from
once.
thousands of people who said their livelihoods have been destroyed. We have? I think I would have remembered that. We talked.
Oh, yes, we did.
When did we talk about this?
I don't know, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
You think so?
I know we
I'm
did.
losing my mind. Did I pre-read it that day? Was
no.
it a lot more smoothly?
Actually, it was much more smooth the first time you read it than it was
really?
this time. This was, it
I'm
was a little
confused.
choppy.
Well, it's always a little choppy. Anyway, they're not fans of karaoke there. Now, I actually kind of like karaoke.
You love karaoke.
Did I like it last time we told the story?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. I don't know. I'm losing my mind and reading stories over again. So I guess that's one of the benefits of being a moron. You can entertain yourself over and over and over. So all I know is this is a true story, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Authorities in Montana say a man who had 3 outstanding warrants for his arrest gave officers a false name during a traffic stop, but ended up in custody anyway. Now, we just had a story like this the other day, but it's a different story. It's from a different state. Here's what happened. During a traffic stop in Great Falls, this was again in Montana, Jonathan Ray Gonzalez of Box Elder told police that his name was Timothy Michael Coop, Jr. The officers learned that a man by that name was wanted in Hill County, and he was arrested. Gonzalez gave authorities his real name 24 hours later, so the charge of issuing a false report was added to his arrest. So what are the odds that this guy is giving a fake name, and the guy whose fake name he gave was also wanted on a warrant? What is it? And what a name. Jonathan Ray Gonzalez Jr. No, he was Timothy Michael Coop Jr. That's the fake name. That other one was his real name. So I wonder if he knew the guy?
I don't know. That's hilarious.
That
so
is.
Serves him right.
There you go. Coming up, we've got your moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
Get a little lesson on buying real estate here, Heidi.
All right.
Going to head to Kansas City, where there's a couple. They knew a year before they made their extensive renovations to a home, and a year before they moved into the home, that a brutal murder took place in the home. Now they're suing the realtor for $5.7 million for the pain and suffering they claim they experienced for having
We have also talked about this one, but...
Did we really?
Yes, we did. I think 5.7 million, just like I thought last time, is a bit steep. But I still think, just like I thought last time...
I apparently need to hit refresh. I must have saved the cookies or something on my computer.
I think that the realtor, it is law, I believe, that a realtor has to let you know if there's been a murder in your home when they're selling it. I think they have to.
Yeah.
But I think 5.7 million is a bit
But they knew
ridiculous.
A year before. They made all these renovations a year before. So they knew this before they made the renovations. So, I don't know. And before they moved in, they knew all of this stuff. So,
I thought that they didn't know.
Yeah, see? I thought we already read this story.
We did read this story, but it was a long time ago.
Okay. Well, see? There you go. That's why I
Well,
forgot.
that's different. If they knew before moving in, then that's your own darn fault. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's your
see?
house.
I knew we'd change your mind if I read the story enough times. All right, coming up, we have your scoop of the day. That's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. High-paying CEOs attract annual attention, and all kinds of people are talking about how wrong it is that these CEOs make so darn much money. Let's turn the attention to somebody else. College presidents. CBS News did a little study. They found that the average CEO of a business earns $176,840. That's a pretty good chunk of change.
That's reasonable.
Academia, college presidents, guess how much they make?
It's insane. I know that.
This is the average, $377,261.
Yeah, and then they wonder why tuition is so high.
Yeah, and they're saying, people are freaking out. And even at colleges, they're freaking out about how much these CEOs make all of this money. Hey, talk to your dean next time, or the CEO of your college, because that's another place that you should look. Thank you to CBS News for checking into that. That's kind of interesting that I didn't realize that there was such a high amount. Maybe if I had known that, I might have gone to some sort of school and got me some kind of education and done that. Probably not, though. Hey, scientists report that wild gorillas sing and some of them hum while they eat. You know why they do that?
Why?
Because they don't know the words.
Wow.
Hey, a 26-year-old cat, which is 121 in human years. Wouldn't that be in cat years? I don't know. It says in human years. Is the oldest in the world, according to Guinness World Records. Corduroy is the cat that's got thousands of followers on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Corduroy and her owner, Ashley Okura, first put the cat on social media with Instagram, and this cat has become famous. 26 years old. It says 121. It says in human years, but I think that would be in cat years.
No, in cat. Well, yeah, I suppose yes, because in human years he was, however,
It says 121
He
in
was
human years. That'd be
25.
really, really, really old. But 26-year-old cat. Deputies in Louisiana have arrested a 52-year-old woman. They say, and I quote, jumped up and down naked on top of her car while screaming obscenities in the parking lot of a children's store.
Oh,
End quote.
my goodness.
So, what were you doing again this weekend, Heidi? Were you in Louisiana? Just checking. Oh, no, she was 52. That's way off. For those of you who have a GPS navigation device, you might want to go get an update because you can now get Morgan Freeman's voice.
Oh, wouldn't that be cool?
Time magazine says he is the latest celebrity to be added to Google's free navigation app, Waze. Oh, do we have that? I might have to get that app. The voice feature is a marketing tie-in for Freeman's upcoming film, London Has Fallen. Freeman plays the vice president in that movie. When using your GPS, he addresses you, the driver, as if you're the president. Oh, that's really cool.
Ah, that is
I have
cool.
to check that out. It's called Waze. Have you ever heard of that? W-A-Z-E?
I have not.
Norma?
No.
It's been long known that a smelly pair of feet bears more than a slight resemblance to a block of ripe cheese. But now scientists have taken this link to the next level by making cheese from a foot.
Ew.
Experts have made the stomach-churning creation using bacteria from a human foot, as well as some other
gross.
cheese from a belly button and some cheese from an armpit.
Oh, gross.
That's what we're going to have at our Christmas party.
That is
Kind
disgusting.
of gross. I don't know what.
There's no way. There is no way
Just planning early.
that
Just
I
saying.
would eat that.
don't think I
Nobody
would
could
either.
give me enough money
I
to
have
eat
no
that.
interest. Hey, about 1 out of every 4
Ugh.
Facebook users lie on their profile. And it's not to impress that guy or gal who wouldn't date them in high school. Sometimes it's just about privacy. 25% of users said they've falsified information in their profile to protect their identity, up from 10% in a similar survey 2 years ago. Is your profile accurate?
It is 100% accurate.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Not mine. I made up all kinds of stuff. According to that, I'm smart. Okay, moving on. I was kind of hoping for a laugh there. All right, let's move on to our strange law. I know some people think there should be a law against wearing clothes that don't match. Well, if you live in Carmel, New York, you can break the law if you wear a jacket and pants that don't match. Have we talked about that?
Yeah, I believe we
We
did.
have. I'm going to have to figure out what I did here. I think I might have clicked save incorrectly or something. That's a strange law and a very familiar one. And this has been your Scoop of the Day.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. Start earning 6%. Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com right now. What are you waiting for? Go to commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, that's commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We got a special guest joining us right now. This is actually a topic that's near and dear to me. People that maybe are struggling with some sort of addiction, and I know it's a thing that if you have that, it's not easy. If it was easy to quit, everybody would do it, but it's not. And if you're struggling with addictions, you might want to listen up because we've got a gentleman right now that's going to be chatting with us here and give us some details on what they're doing. Brady Granier, director of and the CEO of BioCorRx. Brady, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, John?
Very good. Super excited to chat with you. Now, first of all, tell me a little bit about BioCorRx and what you guys do.
What we have done is we've created a program that we distribute to independent physicians around the country. We have about 20, almost a couple dozen around the country that use our program. And the program consists of, it's a medication-assisted treatment program, which stands for MAT, M-A-T, Medication-Assisted Treatment Program. That's the term used in the field. It is the use of medications jointly with psychosocial therapy, counseling, what have you. So our program is considered a MAT program. And it uses a drug called naltrexone. That we don't own the drug naltrexone, but we use it in a special form that's compounded into a biodegradable implant that's surgically implanted in the lower abdomen. So it's a surgery, it's a procedure for addiction, and I know that sounds a little crazy for a lot of people to grasp, and it did for me when I first came across it several years ago. But naltrexone, you can look up the drug naltrexone. It's an FDA-approved drug in itself that used to be in the oral form. It's still in the oral form. It's proven to work very, very well. It's a non-addictive drug, so it's not like your Suboxone or methadone or anything like that. There's no addiction to it. Side effects are very minimal. What it does is it blocks the cravings or that drive to drink if you're an alcoholic. And if you're a heroin user or Oxycontin or a prescription pill user, an opioid base, it will block the effects of those drugs. So it works a little bit different on both of those addictions.
That sounds like a really great thing. And I know, again, if you're struggling with addiction, sometimes it's that willpower is the problem. And by having this a little extra help, let's talk about the implant that's used in this BioCorRx recovery program. Where does it go, and how does that work?
Yeah, so, and before I'll get into that, I just want to say that the implant is just a tool. It's not a panacea. It's not a cure-all. There is no cure. It's a tool to help facilitate the second part of our program, which is the counseling program, which, in my opinion, is the most important because that gives the person the tools to go sober long term. But the implant is the shiny toy that everyone gravitates to, so it's a new thing. So the implant is it's about the size of the end of your pinky, and it gets it's like a big pill, and it's specially compounded for the patient when the doctor orders it, and it's surgically implanted in the lower left or right abdomen. It's subcutaneous, which means it's under the fatty tissue above the muscle. So it's not a major surgery. It's local anesthetic, lidocaine. It's not that difficult of a procedure or complicated of a procedure. There's a technique to it, but it can be done by pretty much any doctor. A lot of surgeons tend to do it just for scarring and things like that, but it's a relatively minor procedure. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to actually do the procedure. So someone can maybe miss a half a day of work or do it on the weekend or what have you, and it's an outpatient program, an outpatient procedure. So again, it's a relatively simple procedure. They don't put you under for it, and most people will start feeling the effects of the medication in about 2 to 3 hours, which is pretty fascinating. Once it enters the bloodstream and it goes through, goes to the brain and what have you. And actually on our website, there's a little animation video that we have that kind of shows a little bit of how the drug kind of works in a very, very basic illustration. So that's the drug in a nutshell. It's worth researching. The drug naltrexone, again, that we don't own the drug naltrexone, has a lot of people consider it a miracle drug. It's been around since the 60s. It was FDA approved in 1985. For opioid abuse and in 1995 for alcoholism. It's been around for decades. And a lot of people wonder, why haven't I heard about this?
Yeah.
And the biggest reason, there's a few reasons. Compliance is the number one reason. It was FDA approved in a pill format. And there's a huge compliance issue with patients in general. People just don't take their medicine. And when it comes to an addict, there's even more of a compliance issue because when that addict wakes up every morning, they have to decide again, do I want to take the pill or do I want my best friend? It's a tough decision to make every day.
One day at a time.
Because that's one day at a time, and sometimes it's tough, so they have to make a decision every day. And, it's New Year's coming up, there's a party this weekend, I might not take it or what have you. So that's why the drug never really took off. That's one of the reasons. Another reason is that it became a generic drug when it was FDA approved, relatively short after or before it, and there was really not a lot of money in big pharma to advertise it. So we all know if no one's educating the public and the doctors on something, then no one's going to know about it. That's how the drug system works.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I mean, you can't really blame someone for that. It is what it is, and For those reasons, those are the two main reasons it just didn't take off. Even though the drug itself, if taken, is highly, highly effective and very, very safe in that pill format.
And the drug and the implant would be the same thing. Is that correct? The implant is the drug?
So what we've done, and along with there's other companies as well that do this. We're not the only people in the world doing this. The implants around the world have been in use for almost 20 years now. So this is really, it's new to everyone that's hearing about it now because there's changes in the industry, but it's really not that new in use. And so it's been worldwide. Tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of people treated worldwide with a similar kind of program or implant that we have. So not us, but we're just one of the players here in the United States.
The drug itself comprises the first half of the program, but then there's the psychosocial behavior component that comprises the other half. Can we talk a little bit about that? What happens after I take the drug? What are the other things that are involved?
So what happens after the drug, which is again, the implant, first of all, is biodegradable, so it will completely dissipate in someone's body. And the time that it does that, it varies from individual. Everyone has different metabolism rates. It's usually several months, but it's hard to put a specific time stamp because everyone's going to be different. But it's usually enough time to allow the person to complete their counseling, which is the most important part of it for the long-term sobriety. So what happens is, once someone, actually before they get the implant, they see the counselor. They have a pre-session before the implant, but then after that, they really enter the counseling part of the program, which is it's a tangible counseling program that was written by addiction experts, centered around the use of long-term naltrexone therapy. It's built into that counseling program. It's still with modules and assignments. It's based on medication-assisted treatment, based on the guidelines that are put out by SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Organization. So it's an up-to-date program on these new MAC guidelines, and it really teaches the individual how to deal with the triggers that will occur in life. Because the implant, again, it's just a tool, and it's to buy you some time to start working on the psychosocial aspect. So once that implant wears off, then that person has to have developed some tools to deal with life stressors that are still there. Those things are still there to deal with. So it's helping them deal and reprogramming their brain to deal with those stressors. And the naltrexone helps as well in some resort with the rewiring of the brain. And I'm not a doctor. I was a registered nurse, but not a doctor, so I don't want to get too much into the medical aspect of it. So the program, we're very proud of the program and the improvements we've made in it over the years. It takes about 4 to 6 months for the individual to go through the counseling part of the program, to go through all the modules and the assignments. And what we hear from the counselors is pretty interesting. And our program works with any program. We encourage group therapy, 12 steps, AA. That's all encouraged in our program. The way we look at it, the more hands you have in someone's addiction treatment, the better their chance of success it is.
Yeah.
So it's really a complete outpatient program that's done privately, confidentially. It's great for executives because they can have this done and not miss any work. The surgery is done, procedure maybe a half day of their time or on a weekend. The counseling is done outpatient, one-on-one. They can really do this without anyone knowing they're gone. As opposed to going away for 30 days in a residential rehab, it's kind of hard to keep that a secret.
Yeah.
And it's difficult on your family and job, et cetera, to do that. But we kind of fit in. We can fit into the fabric of almost any kind of, or any program can kind of fit into the fabric of ours, I guess I should say. So that's kind of the overview of the program in a nutshell. What we hear counselors say is it's refreshing to them because there's the saying from 12-step programs, AA, that 90 meetings in 90 days. And you've heard that before, I'm sure.
Yeah. And
there's a science behind 90 meetings in 90 days. You can go to 90 meetings in 90 days and not use. You have a great chance of longer-term success because in 90 days the brain does start to change after non-use. And that person that sits in front of a counselor after 90 meetings in 90 days is a completely different person to treat because the cloud of addiction has raised it. They're talking to the individual and not to the addict. And again, this is the feedback we get from counselors. So a lot of the counselors like to look. They look at the implant part of our program as an accelerated recovery and skipping 90 days. Like the naltrexone implant, once they have it, almost takes them, fast forwards them 90 days. And when they're sitting with that patient the day after that implant, it's like they just did 90 meetings in 90 days.
That's awesome.
This is feedback that I'm getting from them, which is interesting, and so that's why they like it, because they can actually get into the patients, and help them, and not really talking to that addict in those first few days and weeks, and of when they're trying to quit and they're doing withdrawals and detox and their cravings, the gripping cravings. That's the big thing in all this, is that some people just can't get over those gripping cravings.
Yeah.
They're just so intrusive that they think about it over and over and over again, at least for the alcoholic, and that's all they're thinking about. And this implant, in most people, there's a small percent of the population that naltrexone in general may not work on for genetic reasons, but for most people, it will taper down or virtually eliminate those intrusive cravings, so that it allows you to focus on the psychosocial and the family aspect of your recovery. The challenge sometimes is the implant will work so well on some people, they want to skip counseling because they feel they're cured.
Oh yeah.
And that's a challenge, and that's the wrong approach. And we have to reinforce that. No, I mean you're fine now, but this thing will wear off, and you're going to have to deal with life again. So it's very important to stick with the counseling part of the program for when that implant does wear off.
Our guest today again has been the director and CEO of BioCorRx. And Brady, if I'd like to get some more information on this, how do I find that? Where do I go to get the info?
It's easy. Beataddiction.com. That's the website that we have. It explains the program. There's a animation video on there that shows kind of the implant and how it works. There's also some video of national news a few months ago, so you can see that piece with one of our doctors and a former patient that was talking about what they went through. So you have an explanation of the program there. There's also a page on there that will show all of the locations around the country where the program is offered by independent centers. We have a pretty good coverage, West Coast, East Coast, the Midwest area, and that's expanding. So I'm sure there's going to be some locations close to your listeners.
Nice.
If anyone's looking for more information or for help. So beataddiction.com is the easiest way to get more information on us, and there's an 800 number on the website that people can call, and it'll automatically be directed to the nearest location as well. But it's probably best just to go to the website first and to learn more about it, watch some videos.
Awesome. Brady, thank you so much for taking some time to visit with us today.
Hey, my pleasure.
And I'm going to, again, give the name of the website. That's a pretty simple one to remember, beataddiction.com. And the company is called BioCorRx. And I'm going to spell that for you because it's spelled a little different. It's BIOCOR and then RX like prescription. So BioCorRx. And again, if you'd like to know more, I'll give you that website. It's really simple. It's beataddiction.com. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
According to dog trainers and experts, the 5 most popular dog tricks are sit, shake, roll over, speak, and lie down.
Okay.
Our dogs can't do any of those things.
They can sit.
Oh, not when I ask them to.
Yes, they do.
No, I'll say sit, and they'll run around in circles. And then when I say roll over, that's when they sit.
Just because you're not the master.
Apparently not. Hey, fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Orcas, also known as killer whales, when traveling in groups, they breathe in unison. So they all breathe together when they're in groups.
Hey, fun fact for you. Did you know that when a whale ejaculates, it spits out 40 gallons of semen?
No.
That's why salt water is salty. Don't you think?
No.
No?
This is why I read the fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The largest apple pie ever baked was 40 feet in diameter and was 3 feet thick.
I think my fact was more fun.
Sure it was. That's going to do it for our fun facts. I apologize to anyone listening today. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by RadioReallyWorks.com. I know you're listening to a podcast, but did you know the John and Heidi Show is also a radio show? And for those of you who have businesses, you should consider using radio to advertise your business. We can even help you create some catchy little jingles or amazing radio ads that'll help pull people in. Get all the details or just learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. I owe all of you a huge apology because I missed something last month. A special day that we did not celebrate, Slacking Off Day. Did we talk about this?
If we didn't talk about it, then I don't think we missed it, did we? I think we hit the day spot on if we didn't talk about Slacking Off Day.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
I'm just wondering if we talked about this, too, because everything else seems to have been something that I've already talked about.
I don't think we talked about Slacking Off Day.
Okay.
No.
I don't know if I did or not, because now it's all ringing true to me, like I'm remembering it, but I've been pre-reading stuff lately, too, so now I don't know if I read it and I'm remembering that or if we did read about it. I don't think that we talked about it on the air. Anyway, it was Slacking Off Day on February the 22nd, and this is a national thing that started in Britain. The idea was to stay home in bed and relax for no particular reason, just to slack off. So that's a day that they started. Now, according to a recent survey, 2/3 of people say they could get just as much done working 4 days a week rather than 5. Almost a third of workers said they surf the net for an hour or more every day for non-work-related reasons at work. 75% said they use the office time to send out emails to friends and acquaintances.
Yeah, I could for sure get just as much done in a 4-day work week as I do in a 5.
Non-working related, 75%. 59% said they use work time to call family and friends. So why are we like this? Well, it's easy because we're slackers.
We should switch over to that, a 4-day work week.
No. I kind of like working the number of hours we work and the days we work. This works out nice.
All right.
I don't know, what else would we do? You know how boring it would be to just sit home all day when all of our friends are at work? I mean, that would be boring.
I'd be fine with that.
I would not. Anyway, since we missed it, at least I think we missed it, again, it was February the 22nd was National Slacker Day, and I have to put that on my calendar so we don't forget for next year. You know what? I probably won't do that because I am a slacker. Coming up, I'm Fat Man. We're going to tell you what's going on. Interesting study that I think is going to be interesting. It's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
This is an interesting story, Heidi. I might have this disease.
Okay.
It is a disease that causes you to have a large tummy. According to the Center for Disease Control, big bellies are a disease. 47 million Americans suffer from metabolic syndrome. The CDC, again, Center for Disease Control, says in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the syndrome includes a big belly, high blood pressure, hazardous cholesterol levels, and high blood sugar. I think I got at least half of those.
Okay.
So I probably have this.
What's the cure?
I don't know, but I'm thinking I should get some sort of special parking or something. No, that's not how it works?
No.
I'm just teasing. I know that. No, this is a real thing, though, from the Center for Disease Control. They're just saying, it doesn't say that there's a cure, but they're saying that this is something that 47 million Americans suffer from.
Well, they should work on a cure.
I think the cure is sit-ups and broccoli.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen for me. Coming up, Spider-Woman's making the news.
John and Heidi.
Do all animals deserve veterinary care, even spiders?
Yuck. No.
Felicia Daniels from Springfield, Missouri, wants to be a veterinarian when she grows up. She's off to a good start. She accidentally dropped her 8th grade classroom's pet tarantula,
Okay, John.
cracking the spider's abdomen, yeah?
We've talked about this.
Did we really?
Yes, we did.
Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
What in the world is going on? I think I might have opened the wrong file this morning. I went through
Thank you for joining us for a repeat of
I went
the John and
through
Heidi Show.
and pre-read everything. How come I don't remember any of this? Are you sure we talked about all these
Yes,
things?
we did. Yes,
All right,
because
well,
she saved the
She
spider.
did. She saved the day. Some popsicle sticks were involved. I'm going to have to dig around and see if I can find something we haven't talked about already. Oh, boy. I feel like a moron right now. Hey, that makes it just a regular Thursday. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by Knowles Systems. If you have funds earning less than 6%, listen to this. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6% to 8%. That might be just what you need. You're placed in first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels, apartments, and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges, and you can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. I'll give you a toll-free number to call, 888-547-8007. Start earning 6% now. Call 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. I think this might be some new information here. Heidi's been harassing me because for the whole program, apparently I've been reading some stuff that I read like a month ago. It says here, men are unhappiest between the ages of 35 and 44. I happen to fall in between those ages. I seem to be pretty darn happy. At a time when they're most likely to have a midlife crisis, according to London's Evening Standard. A study conducted by the British government says that it's not until men reach the age of 65 that they start enjoying life like they did in their late teens and early 20s. Women say they are unhappiest between the ages of 25 and 34. So you're already into your happy years, baby. That's when they're coping with their young children, by the way. Now, their happiness rose steadily as if they've got, or as they got older, rather, peaking when they passed their 65th birthday as well. So the happiest time of life for both men and women is in their college years, followed by their retirement years. Men may be unhappy, but it's the women who do all the worrying. Almost all of the women said they worry compared to less than a third of the men. That's how it is for us.
That is definitely the way it is in our relationship. I worry.
You worry a lot.
I worry a lot.
Well, it's because you're married to me. I would worry too, I suppose, if I was married to me. But, I don't worry a whole lot. And when I do worry, I'm like, I'm going to just give it to God because there's nothing I can do about it anyway. So I remember reading on Facebook or somewhere, it said, don't stay up all night worrying about problems. Give it to God and let him deal with it because he's going to be up all night anyway. I was like, hey, I like that. That's a good idea. So anyway, men between the ages of 35 and 44, unhappiest. Women between the ages of 25 and 34, the unhappiest. And all of them were pretty darn happy once they reached 65. So there's something to look forward to right there.
See, now I give my worries to God, but I'm a micromanager, so I have to keep checking in to see if he's gotten it taken care of yet.
How are you doing on this one? He's like, can you give me at least a week? I know I created all of humanity and everything. At least I had 7 days for that. 6 and a day off. All right, coming up, we've got some good news to share. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on this Thursday. It's kind of been a throwback Thursday because I keep reaching back and grabbing stuff from a few weeks ago or a month ago. But I've got something that's new here, I believe. We've all been told not to put water on an oil fire in the kitchen, right?
Yes.
Well, now we know why. The slow-mo guys have released a slow-motion video showing what happens when the water hits the burning pan and it explodes hot burning oil across the room almost instantly.
Cool.
So if you've ever wondered, why is that? And you are one of these people that, I got to see it for myself, you can check it out. I'm going to throw a link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. If you don't put show, that's somebody else. So John and Heidi Show on Facebook.
You're supposed to use like baking soda or something,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, because then it won't explode all over the place like this thing does. So it's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Have you ever seen any of the videos these guys do?
No.
The slow-mo guys?
No.
They have a camera that captures things, and then they slow it way down so you can see why things do what they do.
Cool.
And it's amazing because you see stuff happen before your very eyes all the time, but at regular speed, you have no clue what's going on.
Cool.
You
yeah,
just
we'll
see
have
like
to watch
this.
that.
So, but when they slow it down and you can see, millisecond by millisecond by millisecond, It's pretty darn cool. You can learn a lot of neat stuff. I wonder if they had taped today's show and I got to watch it back in slow motion. Exactly where did I get off track? Was it way in the beginning? Was it halfway through?
I don't know.
All I know is, like I said, today turned into a Throwback Thursday because I had several stories from way back when, and I apologize for that. I don't know what exactly happened there. This is not the first time. I think I need to clean my computer off.
I think maybe.
Got some files on here that are old. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to a Thursday edition of the John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
And your bonus break is brought to you by the good folks at Knowles Systems. If you haven't heard of them, well, you need to listen up because I got to tell you all about this. If you have funds earning less than 6%, maybe you should check into a better system like Knowles Systems. They have commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. If you've never heard of a commercial mortgage bridge loan, I'm going to tell you what this is. It's a loan paying 6% to 8%, and it could be just what you need. You're placed in the first position on loans secured by high-quality commercial real estate like hotels and apartments and office buildings. Your principal never fluctuates in value. You receive 6% per year paid monthly, and your principal is returned in full at the end of each cycle. You never pay commissions, management fees, or asset charges. You can make these loans inside or outside of an IRA. If you'd like more info on how you can start earning 6% or more right now, call 888-547-8007. I'll give you that number again in a second, but first, you might want to just check out the website if that's easier. commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com. Again, commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com or 888-547-8007.
John and Heidi.
As we move on to your bonus break, I've got a couple of things that are pretty darn interesting. First of all, why is there more static electricity in the winter than the summertime, Heidi? Have you ever wondered about that?
I have no idea.
Have you ever noticed that?
The air is drier, so that
it
would be
says,
why.
To get static electricity, you need two objects with substantial difference in electrical charge between them. That difference in change occurs when it's difficult for the charge from one to be conducted to the other. That happens when the air between them is characterized by low conductivity. You following so far?
Not at all.
Dry
No.
air found in a heated room on a cold day has low conductivity. Of course, we all knew that. Until the difference in charge builds up enough, the two objects might as well, shall we say,
Do you know what you're talking about?
no, might as well be poles apart. When the difference is sufficiently large to overcome the low conductivity, the result can make your hair stand on end. And now we know
Fascinating.
what that is. I'm gonna move on. I got some stories here. Top 10 newspaper errors. And I always, in the bonus break, I try to have some fun. And this is some fun stuff here. A newspaper is a marvel that they can put all this stuff out. And every day there's accidents and mistakes, things that get messed up. But this is some of the funny ones. Important notice. If you're one of the hundreds of parachuting enthusiasts who bought our early sky diving book, please make the following correction on page 8, line 7. The word state and zip code should have read, pull the ripcord.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's quite an error.
And when you get to this point, state and zip code. No, pull the ripcord. That is awesome. Next one on here. It was incorrectly reported last Friday that today is T-shirt Appreciation Day. In fact, it is actually Teacher Appreciation Day.
I saw that one coming.
Number 3. There was a mistake in an item that was sent in 2 weeks ago, which stated that Ed Burnham entertained a party at crap shooting. It should have been at trap shooting.
Okay.
Another one here. From California Bar Association's newsletter. So this is a bunch of attorneys. Correction. The following typo appeared in our latest bulletin. Lunch will be gin at 12:15.
Gin.
And this is the funny thing. Lunch will be gin at 12:15 p.m. Please correct to read 12 noon. So the gin part was apparently right.
That's funny.
We apologize to our readers who received, through an unfortunate computer error, the chest measurements of members of the Female Wrestlers Association instead of the figures on the sale of soybeans to foreign countries. What was going on in that newsroom? Another one. These are actual errors that happen in newspapers. In Frank Washburn's March column, Rebecca Varney was erroneously identified as a bookmaker. She is a typesetter. A bookmaker. Isn't that a bookie? I think that's what a bookmaker is.
I don't
Isn't
know.
it? All right. Another error. Our article about Jewish burial customs contained an error. Mourners' clothing is rent. That is torn, not rented.
I don't get that one.
So they were saying that the clothing was rented. They're saying it's torn, not rented.
I don't know. Anyways,
Moving on.
are we about done?
Almost done. Number 8. In the city beat section of Friday's paper, firefighter Dwight Bradley was misidentified. His nickname in the department is Dewey. Another firefighter's nickname is Weirdo. We apologize for the mistake.
Jeez.
They call each other Dewey and Weirdo. Just to keep the record straight, it was the famous Whistler's mother, not Hitler's mother, that was exhibited. And this is in the article. There is nothing to be gained in trying to explain how this error occurred. And finally, number 10 on the list of the top 10 newspaper errors. Our newspaper carried the notice last week that Mr. Oscar Hoffenagel is a defective on the police force. This was
He's
a
a
typographical error. Mr. Hoffnagel, of course, is a detective on the police on the police farce, and they had farce instead of force.
Oh my
so
goodness.
they goofed it up the second time too. All right, there you go. Some fun little things that I wanted to share. Newspaper errors. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Wait a minute. Didn't we already do that too? This has been one messed up show. Thanks for listening on this Throwback Thursday. Brought to you by Knowles Systems. I don't even know if they want to be a sponsor on this.
Not today.
If you have funds earning less than 6%, the good news is they'll take good care of you, even if we've messed things up today. Commercial mortgage bridge loans pay 6 to 8%. That could be just what you need. Get all of the details at commercialmortgagebridgeloans.com.